Hey, I'm going to be talking about Mars in Aquarius. Just wanted to let everyone know before I start the video that I'm working on some new projects for my astrology business. One of them is astrotherapy. Basically what that involves is sending me your birth chart ahead of time. I'll have it out in front of me and we can have a one-on-one session over Skype or GChat, over the phone, a personalized video, whatever format works for you the best. And just be prepared with some questions you want to ask, and we can go over some stuff and talk through it, using your chart as kind of a reference point to be able to talk about it easier and to kind of figure out what's going on in your life in a way that helps bring you some more clarity. So if you're interested in that, check out my Patreon. I've also got my monthly forecast that I'm doing on there too. Eventually, I'm going to move all of that to a website so that it's more accessible and I don't have to conform to the monthly format of it. I just wanted some kind of physical space on the web where I could provide services. So if there's anything else you want me to include right now, I'm learning about structuring my business and how to give it to you guys and collaborating with some people on that. So I'm looking forward to the year ahead. Anyway, Mars and Aquarius, right? So this is a pretty interesting Mars placement. It's someone that is probably one of the most stubborn placements in terms of when Mars and Aquarius has something in their mind and a thought that they want to take action on. It's almost impossible to prevent them from doing that. Like, they're gonna do it. They're not necessarily impulsive. They just take actions based off of fixed thought patterns. So they're gonna be very repetitive people in a certain degree, in terms of Aquarius is fixed thinking. So they're going to have certain mental patterns that they've constructed over their whole life that works for them. They're going to think certain ways about, how they eat, how they interact with people, how they dress, the kind of actions that they like to take. And they're going to do those consistently over time, and they're going to act based off of their own perceptions of everything. And it can be incredibly difficult for them to get to change their ways. So if this person's walking the same path, they've kind of tread this really deep trench of how they act in their life. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you, as a Mars Aquarius, notice that some of these pathways are no longer benefiting you, it's going to be a real challenge for you to switch that up. But just know that you can make completely new tracks just as easily, and they'll be worn in just as much, and it'll be more comfortable for you, but it'll be leading in a more positive direction. And even though, like I just said, Mars and Aquarius is pretty consistent in terms of kind of day-to-day activities and patterns, Aquarius is the kind of sign that will randomly get bored of something and need things to be new and fresh and innovative. So this process is really all-encompassing. It ends up balancing itself out. You've got these steady pathways, but you're always trying to forge ahead and do new and different things. So hopefully you'll be able to balance the two of those things in a way that creates a healthy lifestyle for you. Just be aware of the fact sometimes that you do things just to be nuanced or to be different, that you're not being destructive, I guess, or doing anything that's going to negatively impact you or other people. Try to make those impulsive, inspiring energy moments based off of a positive place, if you're able to do that. So this is someone that's got a lot of energy for conversation. You're going to find yourself to be completely restless if you don't have any activities or people to call or people to text. Like, you will get out of the house and at least hang out in a coffee shop or a bookshop and be around other people because you don't like being alone. And you will take action. Like, you'll get out the house, you'll get in your car, and you'll go see someone, go to an event, go to a group meeting, go to class. Like, that is easy peasy for you. You've got a lot of potential to go out there and get into society. And this can be a pretty extroverted placement in terms of your energetic output. You really spend a lot of it through social activities and intellectual stuff. Sagittarius and Aquarius, and to some degree Capricorn, all have this kind of educational teaching vibe about them. So when your Mars is in Aquarius, you probably are really interested in academia. You would probably spend a lot of time, money, and effort going to school or taking classes or teaching classes or meeting up with other people that are interested in the same topics that you are and discussing and sharing stuff. Like, that's all really interesting and motivating to you. You're constantly trying to acquire new information, even though you have a pretty fixed way of thinking. So what it turns out to be is that you often seek out information that bolsters the knowledge or ideas that you currently hold. You're not someone that's going to take a bunch of random classes that are contradictory to what you think or aren't relevant to you. You're pretty much going to stick within a similar cluster of knowledge and kind of accumulate and build on top of what you already have. Yep. You're someone that would really love to give advice or therapy. It's kind of that teacher essence. Aquarius is always trying to provide people with solutions and with resources. So with your Mars in Aquarius, you might find that you do a certain amount of volunteer work, or that you're always the one that's there for your friends and your family, and that you are willing to give freely and it doesn't really bother you. You're a pretty generous person. You've got a lot of energy to expend to your community, to society. You might, do some kind of monthly charity thing. These are things that would make you feel good and give you your energy back, because that's similar to Mars. It's how you express your energy, but it's also how you accumulate your energy. So while you have a lot of propensity towards socializing and giving and teaching and all those things, all that stuff in turn nourishes you in similar. So if you are feeling really depressed, typically look at your Mars sign, because Mars will get you out of your depression and make you feel alive and vigorous and full of energy. Those are the kind of things you need to be doing to lift yourself out of a funk like that. Go on meetup.com and find someone to chat to about some shit that you're interested in. It's a little, it's not super complicated as far as a Mars placement goes. So in terms of like sex and partnership and aggression and anger, that kind of thing, that are also a part of Mars, you're gonna get angered by intellectual debates, by people that have different opinions than you, by people that don't want to listen to what you have to say or disagree with what you have to say or won't kind of submit to you. It's not talked about a lot, but Aquarius is an incredibly dominant sign. They have their way of thinking, and everyone else is stupid if they don't believe what you think is something that they're able to do a lot of the time. Obviously not all Aquarians are like that all the time, but it's something that a lot of them are known for. So when your Mars is there, just be careful about, talking about politics or really sensitive subjects, because it's something that can get you really feisty, and then you might start yelling and being irrational, and that can cause a lot of anger in your life. So it's best to kind of avoid those topics. Not that you want to avoid everyone that thinks differently from you, because that will help you evolve and kind of see things differently, but just kind of open your mind to the fact that the other person has a different opinion from you, and respect that instead of getting angry and defensive about it. Because because someone else thinks something different than you doesn't mean it's challenging what you already think. Mars in Aquarius, you are allowed to believe whatever you want, and no one's going to fight you on that. And if they are, you're probably going to fight back, which, whatever, that's just kind of what you do. I'm just saying, be aware of that in social settings. If you find that happens a lot and it's something that's kind of frustrating for you, just avoid those people, or learn how to have a conversation with them that doesn't upset you, and change something within your own patterns to kind of transgress past that, which is totally possible. But difficult for that placement. You're also going to get really pissed off at society a lot of the times. This isn't like Venus in Aquarius where you just love everybody. Mars in Aquarius gets really frustrated that people aren't doing the right thing according to their own mind. They have a certain way that they think society and the world should be. And when it doesn't conform to that mold, they can get really angry. And they might take it out on social media and start bashing a whole group of people or just ranting about stuff or getting really upset. The way to channel this positively is through activism. Take the anger out a little bit, leave the passion, and be free to express your opinion and how you think that the world should be. Everyone has a voice and everyone has a vote. Just try to leave the warring out of it, because that's not what we need right now. Mars in Aquarius, in a way, is what we do and do not need. We need the passion. We need the revolution. We need people to be speaking up and recording things and calling people out on their bad behavior and making certain judgments and discernments as far as how we want to be as human beings and what we can agree on moving forward. But we don't need to be doing all the bickering and the fighting and the judgment and the criticism, because that makes people throw up walls. And like I said, anger in itself isn't necessarily a negative energy, but it can be used to create negative situations, or it can be fuel to create more positive situations. And that's totally up to you on how you want to use your Mars. And those are just some suggestions right now, because it's so easy to get caught up arguing with people online, and it's really not worth your time or energy, and it's going to make you feel really burnt out and pissed. So just say what you need to say and leave it alone. And yes, freely express yourself. Just be careful of that. As far as sexual attraction goes, you're definitely going to be into someone that's pretty worldly, that is intelligent and has a lot of knowledge. Similar to most of the air Mars, you're going to be really sexually attracted to someone mentally first before all of that other stuff. You're going to have like a brain connection with this person. You get excited by, really awesome conversations. You're probably going to be more attracted to someone that has similar opinions to you, but not necessarily. You might like a little bit of conflict, as long as it's stimulating and not disruptive. But for the most part, you'd probably prefer if someone has the same ideas as you, because then you can go back and forth and be like, yeah, we love this thing, That'll get you really excited about a partner. You want someone that is, to a degree, extroverted, someone that is able to go out into society with you, someone that might have their own social status and has a good group of people around them and is active on social media. You like someone that has a lot of connections, that isn't afraid to make a lot of connections and isn't afraid to be themselves. You love someone who is unique, who is maybe the underdog or a rebel or a revolutionary. You want someone that is forward-thinking and inspiring, and has a really fresh, innovative approach on life. That's gonna really get you pumped about someone in kind of a sexual acquisition way. Like, you're gonna go after that person. And Mars in Aquarius is someone that's really direct about their feelings. Like, if they're into you, they're gonna be all over you. It's a pretty dominant placement for Mars to be at, because I really do think Aquarius is a pretty dominant placement. The only warning I would give you is that you might be a little bit overwhelming, and it's easy for you to get a bit condescending, because Mars in Aquarius knows that it's intelligent and uses it to its advantage when it goes out in the world and tries to accomplish things. So yeah, you probably go towards trying to impress other people with what you know and how you can talk and the connections that you have. Just don't show all of your cards at once. It's not necessary. It might overwhelm people, and a lot of people like figuring you out over time. So just play it a little bit more cautious. But yeah, you're pretty direct and you go after people and what you want. It's pretty clear to you. So dating shouldn't really be difficult in terms of actually like getting dates and talking to people, because you're really good at socializing and just coming in there and starting a conversation. All that's really easy to you. As far as like any emotional romantic stuff, it really depends on your Venus sign. This is typically just like first impressions and being with people physically. Mars in Aquarius is definitely someone that's experimentative, who's open to that, but within their own little mind frame, right? Like they probably have an idea in their head of the sex that they like to have and the kind of people they like to be with, and they might not really go out of the box that often, except when they want to be spontaneous and mix it up. So I know it's contradictory, but that's very much the Aquarius energy. When you've got Saturn ruling it, who's rigid and about structure, and Uranus ruling it, who's all about just crazy whatever but higher wisdom, it's a lot going on. So like I said, it's a pretty interesting place for Mars to be at, and you're going to navigate your world very mentally. You're going to think and then act. You won't really act without thinking. That's something that would not even come to your mind in the first place. You want to have it all figured out in your head and then strategically move forward. All right, so that's Mars in Aquarius. I hope that I provided some insight for people. Please give me your feedback. If you have this placement or know anyone with this placement, add some details. I know I've missed a bunch of stuff. And yeah, if you have any other video requests, keep them coming, because I'm really enjoying this kind of work. So peace.